In this technique of the week, we're going to be covering a takedown that has a couple different names and a couple different ways to do it. In Aikido, it's known as a Shionage, or a four-directional throw. In modern Arnis, and in our system, it's called a side-by-side throw, and it can be done a bunch of different ways. I'll show an Aikido version of it, and then I will show the modern Arnis and the Ryukyu Kempo version. The Aikido version, Kevin's going to be grabbing my wrist. Okay, so from here, I'm going to pass it to my opposite hand, and then I'm going to step through in front of Kevin and step and reverse my direction so that I have his arm bent this way. The four-directional throw means that I can pull his arm in four different directions. I can either go backwards this way, I can go straight back, I can yank in this direction, which will separate a lot of joints, or I can put my hip here and I can hip throw him that way, which will really wreck everything. For practice sake, in the dojo, most of the time we do this one right here, where we sit down and we throw the person. Okay? To add Kyusho into this technique for Aikido, as I come through, I talked about in the last video where I use this bone right here on my index finger knuckle to manipulate pericardium 6 right here. So as I grab, I kind of do this motion like a ridge hand motion right on that point. See how that buckles his knees? It kind of takes him off balance a little bit. As I step through, I want to make sure that I step through where he can't counter the technique. So I'm going to let this arm guide through first and bring this here, which gives me this kind of a throw. I actually have to adapt to do the throw safely by pulling back this way, because I actually feel like I want to pull it that way, which would break everything. Okay, so again, pull straight down, and down he goes. So that's the Aikido version of a Shionage. The side-by-side, done in modern Arnis and in our system, okay, if Kevin were to throw, say, like a back fist, I would parry it here, and then I'm going to take his pinky knuckle and I'm going to rotate it this way back towards my hand. I'm not going to reach back to grab his hand. I'm going to push his hand back to lock in here, and I'm going to hook my hand over his wrist so that he can't power out of it. Now, from here, I'm going to lock my other hand on top, and now I still have either one of those four directions I can throw. But to make this a little bit more of an interesting technique, if I let my hand slide up on top of his knuckles here, and my other hand goes on top of his knuckles, and I compress back this way, his feet will pop out from underneath him instead of me having to leverage and pull down on the throat. Yeah, okay? So as you saw, as I push it back, I let my hand overlap here on his hand, and then my other free hand covers his knuckles. And I compress his hand downwards towards his elbow, and almost like a compression lock. And that is really, really painful on his wrist. But as you saw, his feet popped out from underneath him as I did it. Instead of going like this and pulling back and off balancing him, I simply just pull back this way, and his feet pop right out from underneath him, and down he goes. Okay? Part of my theory is that as you do this, okay, besides the fact you're putting a tremendous amount of pressure on the wrist, you're pulling pericardium and heart towards his gallbladder points, his wood ocean right here. You have liver 14 and gallbladder 24 down here. It's called your wood ocean. That's the direction that I'm thinking and visualizing as I pull that in, and I get that dramatic reaction. Okay, so that's my theory behind it. Not quite sure if that's a theory that worked, why it works. I just know it works really, really well. So that is the technique of the week. You can follow me also on, or follow Penacook School Martial Arts on Facebook at Penacook School Martial Arts, or you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Penacook Karate. And as usual, thank you for watching the Technique of the Week. If you enjoyed this Technique of the Week, please visit penacookkarate.com and subscribe. Also on penacookschoolkarate.com, you can also order all your nutritional supplements through bodybuilding.com and my affiliate page there. Quest Nutrition also. And you can order DVDs, t-shirts, and books through Penacook School or penacookkarate.com.